The new show. Today we are talking about what to do and not to do at the U.S. Embassy, especially for these student athletes who are trying to get a visa approval for athletic scholarship. All right. You see, many people who have been denied visas is not because of the qualifications, but it's pretty much about the interview. There's a reason why that interview is there, right? They want to see really who are you? Are you really worth it? Are you the person that you claim to be? That's why wanakuangalia eye contact, nini, wanauliza maswali. And of course, before you go there, there's a DS-160, right? There's a document you feel about so many things like why you this school, how do you get the course, blah, blah, blah. To verify that you are the one who actually got in touch with the school or the coach who invited you over or gave you the athletic scholarship, right? So I'm just gonna go through a few things here that for those guys who are planning to go to the embassy. I talked about how to get U.S. scholarship. These are the things which follow, because you could have worked so hard. Makimbia Poa, you are given full scholarship. Everything's taken care of, but there's only one last part of the equation, the embassy. That's the gateway. That is where everything is take that everything is good, right? So it's a very important part, because if you don't get that right, then you're still stuck here. Anyway, so first things that you should not do. Do not lie. Lie only if you feel like there's no way they can find it, right? I mean, those guys, they want to make sure that you're talking about the right thing, right? So they ask you about something like, do you have siblings in the States? I mean, for me, I had one, and I felt like there's a way they can find it. So I said, yes, I do. And as long as, because they want to make sure that hauendi kukaa huko, labda uende wache shule na uishi na ndugu yako, hapana. So at the time, my relative was there. Alikuwa shule, right? Alikuwa under full athletic scholarship, same school that I was going. So there was no threat that I was gonna, quit school. So me, niko na majina zangu, everything is written on my name. So there's no reason why they would believe that I would quit school and go live with her, right? Also, they look at the grades that you got in high school, right? If you got good grades, then it shows like you're a good student. And kitu muhimu at the embassy is you have to make sure that you emphasize education, right? The first questions they ask you is like, why the states are not here, right? Especially if you have, grades that can allow you to go to university here. So for me, I said, I've always wanted to study in a university which is like world class, right? As I've really worked hard to get good grades so that I can qualify to study in a, world class university. And the United States is the best place where they have the best universities in the world. I mean, not really true, but hey, I had to play the game, right? I say, secondly, I've been offered a full athletic scholarship. That means everything would be paid for because of my running abilities. Then they say, makes sense. I mean, those guys, they don't have time to look at you for long. So wanaangalia tu eye contact kidogo kidogo hivyo, naona kama uko sawa. So kitu ya kwanza also you have to make sure is you keep eye contact, alright? Wakati unaongea, make sure unamwangalia yeye. Because kama sasa mtu unaangalia uko juu ama uko kando ama you are fidgeting your fingers, I mean, they feel like you're not ready for this. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're looking for. So that's the way they can ascertain, should we give this guy a visa or not, right? You should know that every year they have a certain number of students who are allowed to go to the States. And, they have to really make sure that the right ones go. So wanachuchuka watu, right? Wanaangalia, this guy is not ready, maybe anaweza kaka hapa. So kama grades yako is not great, I mean, an average of C is okay, but kama iko chini hapo ni ngumu. But kama uko na A, B+, it's a bit, you have a strong case to build, right? So I mean, so you have to really emphasize education so much. Like, they'll ask you about what course do you want to study. I mean, that's a very specific question, because they'll be like, I mean hiyo course yenye unaenda kufanya kwani ipatikani hapa, right? So for me, so you have to give them something that warrants you to go there. So I mean, many people talk about you want to do nursing. They ask you why nursing, right? So okay, even though I know at the end of the day nasikianga, you know that nursing profession pays a lot per hour, but don't say that, because that sounds that you're not going there for school. You're going there to work, or maybe find a way to stay there after school, because those guys are from immigration, right? They want to make sure that unamaliza shule na unarudi hapa, right? So you talk about I want to go there and get the skill set, get the knowledge on how to do things so that I can come here and implement my community. For me, I said I wanted to do environmental science, and they asked me why environmental science. Americans are very wako strict. They ask questions and straightforward. Now you have to have an instant answer, otherwise you cannot make up something immediately. So for me, nilikuwa nimesema I have to say something that will make them believe that ndarudi hapa Kenya, right? Kama nataka nifanye environmental science. They ask me why environmental science. I say, you say in Kenya, I see there's a lot of natural resources that have not been utilized, like water, wind, solar, right? And what? Thermal, from geothermal, right? I said I want to go there, learn how this technology, these resources can be tapped, right? And bring that knowledge and expertise to my country and figure out a way we can make sure that we utilize it so that we are at par with these first world countries. Was a good story that I said, right? So they didn't have anything else. They couldn't come back from that, right? Something else I want to mention is speak loudly, right? Because ni kama bank, kuna glass hivi na kuna kashimo kadogo. So if you're not loud, they don't know what they say. Hata hiyo wanakupiga tu red, right? You have to be loud, wasikie, right? And then if you don't hear something they ask, say, excuse me, say that again. Because if they ask you something and you say something else, then they would wonder what's wrong with you, right? So for me, I remember one time they asked me, the first time I was there, they asked me something. But I wasn't ready to answer him immediately. So I said, say that again. But I just needed that half a second to frame my words correctly. And I said it, and, it made sense to him, and, they didn't have any other question. Something else here they would ask you is, I think I mentioned that, why US? So you have to give a reason, like, America is a place whereby you get an opportunity to use your talent to earn, to pursue higher education. That's academics, right? You say, since I was in high school, I've been running and did very well, and I feel like this is God-given talent, and I want to use it to pursue my higher education. The school is paying, my tuition fee, my insurance, and everything, and that's why you have the 100% scholarship on the I-20. So that's why I always emphasize that you have to get the 100% scholarship. From there, your case is very easy to build. Okay? Something else here is, what plans do you have after graduating? Hapo hasa ni ngumu, because they want to make sure that hauna plans ya kuingia chini ya maji, right? So unasema tu napanga kurudi hapa, alafu atakuuliza, okay, wataangalia tu venye huko, akwambia unapanga kurudi aje, utakuja integrate aje na the system hapa, right? So for me, kama sasa story ya hiyo climatic change na hizo story ya solar, wind, blah blah blah. So I say, I'm always been following these technological companies, on the ones who manufacture, the equipment that converts this to that. So, kama kwa mfano nataka kufanya community work, you say, okay, I want to come and help my community. I'm in touch with some organizations hapa Kenya zenye zina run community services or community provision, responsibilities. They're very sharp, so unafaa kuwa mjanja. they'll ask you who's paying for all this. Sana sana wanajua ni wazazi, right? And that's why kitu kama bank statement you should say ni ya mzazi ama ni ya your uncle, right? So kama your bank statement, not bank statement, but your I-20 is not 100%, so the difference between the actual amount na yenye umepewa, watakuuliza who's gonna pay for it. So that's why I always emphasize, ukiwa na 100%, then hawezi ulizwa swali like who's gonna pay for, you know, the extra money, because 100% scholarship means the school is paying for everything. The only thing maybe your parents or your uncles are paying for ni flight ticket na hizo walilipa exams nini. So yeah, what else? So they would ask you like, what plans do you have after this? You'll be like, I'll come back here. Then they will try to figure out a way to ascertain that. So they want to make sure that you have a very strong family ties up. Like, kama una anybody huko, you say, okay, you know, I don't know anybody out there. So I'm planning to come back here because my parents are here, my siblings are here, my cousins and everybody here, and I want to be around them, right? I'm just going there for school, not for anything else, right? So one guy I talked to akaniambia, he was asked, what if you get an American spouse? Hey, jamaa alichanganyikiwa. Didn't know what to say. But in case they ask you that, just say, I'll convince him or her to come back with me to my homeland country, and you know, we do what we do, or you know, we start a new life and you know, new careers, blah blah blah. And ukiona maswali yamekuwa mingi, know that kimeumana kidogo. Kuna kitu wanajaribu, they're just looking for a reason to kupiga chini. So you have to be very careful about how you put your statements, because when you look at you know, the way they ask questions, they are looking for a reason, because you know, wezi nyima tu mtu visa bure hivyo, you know, there's got to be a reason why ulimnyima ya. Watasema they couldn't convince us that he's going there for school, right? And it goes back to DS-160. Make sure that you are the one who's filling the DS-160, because everything in the DS-160 is what is they're reading on the screen, right? So if somebody else filled it, like, do you have a sibling there or a relative there, and maybe the person who was filling it said no, and then you say yes, then sounds like you are not the one who did it, right? So as soon as umelai tu moja, una bahati. So you have to make sure that you're very consistent with your answers, and make sure that you know where they're targeting. So try to work, sukuma hapa, you know, unajaribu kurudi. Sukuma hapa, unajaribu kurudi. Because ukisukuma hapo alafu you don't recover, you can't make a comeback, hapo ni ngumu, right? What else here? Nimesikia watu wanaulizwa, what classes will you take for the first semester? So at least do research kidogo. Huko the first semester is general classes, right? Kuna humanities, kuna science, kuna mathematics, na kuna some English as a second language, right? Know a little bit of few units yenye unaenda kufanya, because they want to make sure that you really know exactly what you're going to do, right? Watakuuliza, how long will your scholarship last? You know, don't say 5 years. If it's written 4 years, 4 years, right? They ask you about the sport that you run. You know, you mentioned I ran 1500 meters or 3000 meters. I won a lot of, you know, championships in high schools, and you know, I have a lot of trophies. And if you have supporting documents, kama hizo za hiyo ya regionals ama district levels, you know, unaweza tengeneza na uko tunazo hapo, right? Just waone kama uko na picha zingine yenye umekimbia hivi, piga picha ukiwa mdogo or whatever. You know, that would be good, because I mean, nowadays they've realized that kila mtu wants to go in there. So they trying to figure out a way to selectively select people who are eligible, right? Because you can imagine mtu mwenye amepata academic scholarship anyimwe visa on what grounds? Ni ngumu. That's why watu academic, most of them do get it. Academic scholarship wanapewa. But athletic, wanakuangalia hivi nini. right? So you have to be very sharp. So those guys when you're embassy wanakuanga very, you know, no, wametrainiwa to be very, you know, wanajua kusoma watu sana. What else here? Nakwambia, let me see. So prepare for any question. Ushajua tu, this is the border, right? They don't want, you should not show any interest of staying there or any interest of kubaki huko ama kufanya kazi huko. So hata hiyo course yenye unasema you want to do, you have to make sure that inapatikana hapa, right? I know maybe your plan ni kuende usome nursing alafu baki huko, ni sawa. Hiyo utaamua peke yako. But don't mention anything to do with ati ndabaki huko, right? Hata unaweza fika huko una change tu course yenye unataka kufanya. Mimi niliandikiwa I wanted to do, inaitwa nini? Hiyo to do with science, but I ended up doing business, right? Because I wanted to do that. So when I got there, because sikuwa na reason mzuri ya kusema nataka nifanye business. But when I got to business school, nilifanywa interview ingine pia. Because business school was a bit competitive, so we did mock interview, right? So they asked me, why do you want to do marketing? I say, back home, biashara ziko chini sana because the marketing they do is iko chini. So I want to take this knowledge, this experience, and really impact my community, my country, and other businessmen to really create more value for their goods and services, right? And one more thing, very important. You should prepare for that. Don't just, do a mock interview. Mock interview ni you set up kwa na msako na maswali mbele yako, right? And they go through those questions. Alafu waone venye una respond. Kama unaangalia chini, unaangalia juu ama unashikashika mahali, that's a red flag, right? So that fanya kwanza kuja kurepeat, ya pili repeat, ya tatu sasa make sure everything is fine. Kuja swali hivi na peana answer immediately, right? Because you've worked so hard to get there, and a lot of money being involved from kufanya mtihani, you've been doing training. It's a lot of money to do with booking the embassy, appointment, traveling, passport. So the last part is very important. You have to make sure that you get it right. I know wanafunzi wengi wenye wanataka kupata visa wanakuwa na kiburi sana na ujuaji. They feel like, I'm smart enough, I can get away with this. Those guys are not Kenyans. Azi wako na different mentality, wanajua someone is lying, and they will make sure that if you're lying, huwezi penya. Hata hapo mbele imeandikwa, kuna place hapo wakati unaenda kupeana passport yako, imeandikwa you can fake your passport, but there's going to be one guarantee: you will never enter that country, right? They will find out. So in as much as possible, sema ukweli, keep it as simple as possible. Kama hujaelewa swali, ambia rudia, right? What else? I think that's it for the most part. Speaking loudly, make sure you keep things straightforward, panga your documents, and don't push the papers. Wakuuliza letter I-20, napeana I-20. Can we see a bank statement? Napeana. And take your time. Wakikuuliza what does your parents do? Sema ukweli. Don't say my parents do what they don't do. You can say, but usionekane unadanganya, most people bank statement natoka from somebody else. Don't say ni ya mtu fulani tulinunua. No. Ambia tu ni anko yangu ni rich man, that's why because your bank accounts inakuanga, I don't know, 3 million, 4 million, right? Bank statements. Says my uncle's a businessman in nini. He wants the best for me, and he's always supporting me. He's the reason why I work so hard to earn this scholarship. Just tell a story. Kusema story mzuri, those guys will be fine. So just make sure you have a good story, right? Keep everything consistent. Keep it simple. Don't panic. I know watu wengi wanaongea na sauti ya chini. Hapana. Eye contact very important. Ongea kwa sauti. And in case, right? akwambia your visa has not been approved, just be nice, be like, hey madam or hello sir, is there any other document I can provide or any other information you would like me to clarify to warrant my approval? And atakwambia there is a student alienda nikafanyia mock interview kwa sawa, everything yenye we went through aliulizwa, but then I asked him that in case katazwa, uliza yeye what is the reason, is there anything I didn't explain well or any other document I need to provide, you know. Akaambiwa ati shule yenye alikuwa ameitiwa ni shule ndogo, but venye alikuwa amesema he had said that's a very big school, nini. But those guys know the schools, they know the graduation rates, they know it's a division 1 or division 2 or division 3 school. So akaambiwa tu shule yako ni ndogo, itabidi tu umetafuta shule nyingine kubwa. So at least alipewa answer. So for those guys who are preparing go to embassy, all the best. Make sure you prepare very well and make sure that you consider all those factors that I've told you. Till next time, if you have any questions, feel free to write down on the comments and I'll be able to reply to you next time. Take care.